Clara, 45, lived in a small wooden house perched on a hill overlooking Main Beach, Byron Bay, New South Wales, Australia, and the salty sea breeze mingled with the scent of lavender from the small garden surrounding her home. The old house, with its weathered red-tiled roof, faced the ocean with a balcony, while a few wildflowers grew naturally along the hillside, and willow trees leaned gently in the wind, creating a scene that was both peaceful and tinged with loneliness. Clara had shoulder-length brown hair, streaked with a few strands of silver at her temples, and deep hazel eyes that carried an unspoken sadness, yet still radiated warmth and gentleness. After the sudden death of her husband a year earlier, Clara had retreated into herself. Long nights were spent in the worn armchair by the window, sipping hot tea, staring out at the dark sea, letting loneliness and painful memories seep into her heart. Her only daughter, Emily, had gone to the city for university, leaving Clara alone in a quiet house where the sound of waves and wind became her only companions. One autumn evening, when the late-blooming lavender swayed softly in the breeze, Clara heard a faint sound outside her balcony. She opened the door and found a small calico cat sitting quietly among the purple flowers. Its compact body was slightly fluffy, with soft fur-creamy white on the belly, golden honey on the back, and deep black scattered across its head and tail. Its ears bore a tiny scar, a subtle mark from its days wandering the streets. One eye was a golden amber, like the setting sun. The other, a pale blue reminiscent of an autumn sky. Looking at Clara with a gentle yet mysterious gaze, the cat made no sound, did not run away, and simply observed her as if to say, "I am here, and I will not leave." Clara, though surprised, felt no irritation. Instead, a strange warmth crept into her heart. She named the cat Luna, after the quiet moon that seemed to light up her dark nights. In the days that followed, Luna became Clara's silent companion. At first, the cat would sit on the balcony, but gradually it began to follow her as she tended to the lavender garden, leaping lightly among the low shrubs, its soft, attentive gaze tracking every movement of Clara's hands. She whispered to Luna stories of her husband, her daughter, the deep loneliness she carried, and the worries and sorrows she had never shared with anyone. Luna listened, her gentle eyes conveying understanding, and slowly, piece by piece, Clara felt her heart warm and the emptiness inside her begin to ease. She would sit in the armchair by the balcony at sunset, bending down to pick each lavender bloom, inhaling its soothing fragrance, while Luna sat close, placing a tiny paw on her hand as if offering comfort. In the fiery glow of the afternoon sun streaming through the window, it highlighted Clara's tousled brown hair and the multicolored fur of Luna, creating moments of serenity that Clara had thought were lost forever. One late afternoon at the end of May, a strong wind swept in from the sea, carrying thick, dark clouds that stretched across the sky, turning the daylight dim and heavy. The waves crashed against the shore with a deep, rolling sound, and the salty breeze carried a sharp chill that brushed against Clara's face. Suddenly, without warning, the entire town lost power. Streetlights went out, and even the faint glow spilling from the windows disappeared. Everything around her plunged into darkness. Clara froze in the middle of her room, her heart racing. a tight knot of fear and helplessness forming in her chest. Her life had already been quiet and lonely, but now, with shadows pressing in from every corner, it felt unbearably frightening. She could hardly imagine making it through the long night alone. The darkness seemed alive, ready to swallow her whole. Then, out of the blackness, Clara noticed Luna, her cat with two colored eyes, staying close by her side. It was as if the cat sensed that something was wrong. Luna moved quietly beneath her feet, brushing softly against her legs, following her with a gentle, unwavering presence. Each step Clara took, Luna mirrored with delicate precision, offering silent companionship. The cat's calm vigilance gave Clara a small sense of relief. She was still afraid, but not completely alone. As the evening deepened, Clara lit a small candle. The soft light made the room feel just a little less cold and frightening. It was as if the cat was sharing her unease, silently encouraging her to breathe and slow down. Clara inhaled deeply, letting the warmth of the candle and the presence of Luna seep into her bones. She gently ran her fingers through Luna's soft fur, softening the fear that had held her so tightly. When night finally fell completely, Clara climbed into bed. Luna followed immediately, slipping onto the mattress and curling at her feet. The cat lay quietly, her body a soft, steady weight against Clara's. For the first time since the lights went out, Clara felt her heartbeat slow. The cold emptiness of the room, the isolation that had seemed so oppressive, softened just a little. With Luna beside her, she realized she was not entirely alone. Even in the stillness of the night, warmth, comfort, and companionship could exist, offered in quiet gestures by a loyal, gentle creature. In those long, hushed hours, with the candle flickering and the wind whispering through the cracks of the window, Clara and Luna shared a fragile, soothing rhythm. Each tiny sound, each quiet movement, blended into a feeling of calm and safety. Step by step, Clara's fear eased, replaced by a sense of peace she hadn't felt in months. The darkness around her remained, but it no longer felt threatening. She learned that even in the loneliest moments, comfort could come from the smallest sources of flickering flame. The soft warmth of a furred companion, the silent presence of someone who simply stayed. By the time sleep began to pull her under, Clara's mind was quieter, her heart calmer. In Luna's loyal company, the night felt less like a threat and more like a gentle, quiet space where she could breathe, rest, and remember that even in darkness, warmth and love could be found in the simplest, gentlest ways. After 3 long days of living in darkness, Clara made her decision. She could no longer see Luna as a wandering stray who had simply come into her life by chance. The little cat, with her 2 colored eyes and quiet devotion, had already become family. Clara gently signed the adoption papers at the small local shelter that afternoon, her hands trembling slightly, as if she were making a promise not only to Luna, but also to herself. From that moment, Luna was no longer a visitor. She was Clara's child, her companion, and the soul of the quiet seaside house. Life inside the cottage began to change in subtle, beautiful ways. The silence that once felt so heavy was now broken by the soft rhythm of paws tapping across the wooden floor, or by Luna's gentle meows as she followed Clara from room to room. The windows, which had often framed nothing but Clara's solitude, now seemed brighter, alive with small moments of joy. Even the air inside the house felt warmer, carrying with it the mingled scents of lavender drifting in from the garden and the salty sea breeze rolling in from beyond the hill. That evening, as twilight deepened and the waves broke softly against the shore below, Clara lay in bed with Luna curled close to her side. She stroked the cat's silken fur and whispered into the stillness, "We will never be apart again." The words carried no hesitation, only peace. A gentle smile curved her lips, and for the first time in many years, her heart felt whole. Sleep came easily, like the tide returning to the shore, carrying with it a calmness she had long forgotten. Outside, the lavender swayed gently in the night wind, releasing its soothing fragrance through the half-opened window. The moon hung low above the ocean, its pale silver light spilling across the waves and casting a quiet glow over the little house on the hill. Within those walls, Luna lay like a tiny guardian angel, her breathing steady, her warmth pressed against Clara. Every flick of her tail, every soft purr seemed like a promise. "You are loved." Over the days that followed, Clara noticed how the house itself seemed to awaken. In the mornings, she would rise with the sun and find Luna waiting at the window, her eyes reflecting the dawn. Together they watched the horizon brighten, the sea glittering with streaks of gold. Clara would step outside with a cup of warm tea, the lavender brushing gently against her legs as Luna trailed beside her, pausing now and then to press her nose into the flowers. The garden hummed with bees and the whisper of the wind, and Clara felt as if the world itself was breathing alongside them. Each small moment became a quiet gift, Luna's head resting on her lap as she read by candlelight, the soft nudge of a paw against her hand when she grew lost in thought, the peaceful weight of the cat at her feet during long nights. These gestures, tender and wordless, stitched Clara's days together with threads of love and belonging. Clara realized then that healing does not always arrive in grand gestures or through other people. Sometimes it comes in the smallest of forms, the brush of fur against your hand, the echo of purring in the silence, the steady heartbeat of a loyal creature curled close to you. In the little house by the sea, surrounded by lavender and the endless rhythm of the waves, Clara found not only companionship, but a new beginning. And so, every morning, as the sun poured its light across the water and the scent of lavender filled the air, Clara sat with Luna in her arms, gazing out at the horizon. With each breath, each heartbeat, she felt her once lonely heart soften, soothed by love, warmth, and the simple truth that she was no longer alone.